And now, ladies and gentlemen of the old world, we're back in business once again with a community showdown featuring the Warriors of Chaos, who shall be led by Papa Palpatine. I'm sure he's got some schemes up his Sith sleeve. And today, my friends, he faces off against the Dinos, who shall be led by Silly Sotek, coming in hot with Gorok. Should be quite a bit of fun seeing Gorok in action. I guess against Chaos, he certainly isn't bad. Chaos does have a fair amount of armor, he has good AP, and is durable. Granted, I feel like he's a little bit better against... I don't know. I feel like against Chaos, sometimes you need monsters to fight them because things like Warp Chicken, Dragon Ogres, all that sort of good stuff. But we'll see how Gorok does. Frontline for Chaos, it's going to be Chaos Warriors mixed with, a rare sighting of Chaos Warriors. You don't see them too much. Granted, I do feel like they're a very cost-effective unit. When you compare Chaos Warriors across the board in Total War Warhammer to other units of equivalent cost and similar role, I feel like Chaos Warriors are very good. You can see 36, 44, 36, certainly not bad on their stat line, but it's going to be Chaos Warriors and Marauders in the front line, it looks like, or is it all Chaos Warriors? No, Marauders on the far side, yes. In the back, we have a couple Chosen with great weapons, all right. This is what I'm talking about here, perhaps anticipating a Temple Guard box. Occasionally, you can see that from Dinos, like a box of Temple Guard with some big dinosaurs standing in the middle and maybe like one ranged piece, so maybe the Chosen are a tech piece against that. And worst case scenario, the Chosen still have really good combat stats and good AP, so they can put some hurt on a big dino as long as it's kind of standing still amongst them. It's got to be Marauder Horsemen in the back, or Horse Masters, 3 in total. Warp Chicken, I would imagine, coming in with Plague of Rust as well to accentuate the DPS here from the Horse Masters, but I definitely like the build. Looking pretty solid for sure. Now, for the forces here of the Dinos, let's go ahead and take a look here. It is going to be Skink Cohorts, Saurus Warriors with Shields, Cohort of Sotek, so pretty Saurus heavy front line. It looks like in total there are going to be 4 Saurus with a couple Skinks on the flanks, probably to screen out Hounds, different things like that, maybe push on the Horse Masters, but we'll certainly see. He's got a Feral Carno. Pretty much a staple. This matchup for the longest time has really often devolved into being a monster mash. What you end up seeing is like Kolek fighting against our Scarvets or Feral Carnosaurs, things like that. So yeah, the monster mash, certainly you got to respect it. So Feral Carnosaur, quite good. Croxagor's got their spanking paddles. What is that? Did their paddles get changed, or is it just me? Was this like a recent patch, or maybe he's using like, yeah, I don't know. This is weird. I could have sworn they looked a little bit different, but yeah, they got their spanking clubs, it looks more like, and they are very good against Chaos Warriors. We do have the Star Chamber Guardians here. We'll not trade terribly effectively with Chosen with great weapons. We have Gorok as well, a couple Skinks on the flanks, and that is pretty much it. So a lot of the money here from this Dino army is very heavily invested in Thesaurus, but there are a couple big breadwinners in the form here of the Croxagors to paddle down some of those Chaos Warriors. And of course, Gorok himself in sustained combat won't be terrible, at fighting against some of these elite Chaos Infantry. He has got good AP and very, very good durability. I don't think there's any form of healing. As far as magic goes, for the Lizards, it's going to be a Skink Priest of Manticore Summoning. Amber Spear is also quite good. From an angle, it can be used and actually do some good damage, but that was a pretty unfortunate Amber Spear. Yeah, that's not how you want to use it. When you use Amber Spear, you want to be like on the side and shoot it down the pipe, but what a great way to start the game. Definitely lifting the morale of the Dinos as they blast 5 of their own Cohort of Sotek, but at least they're unbreakable. I assume that those Dinos probably think it's part of the Great Plan or something like that. They're like, oh yes, the Great Plan dictates that I'm going to get blasted apart by an allied Amber Spear. Ooh, look at this. Demon Spew is here as well. Demon Spew should be interesting to watch. They hit really hard against light armor. Saurus aren't lightly armored, but they're not heavily armored either, so maybe a good flank from Demon Spew would be the way to do it. They'd be really good at killing Skinks, especially. Like, if you get a full-on just, bro charge here on the Skink cohorts, those bad boys are going to take a ton of damage. So, Marauders charging into the Skink lines. Warp Chicken going to be drumsticking here into the Saurus Warriors, and now we have the Forest Engagement as the Demon Spew do charge into the Cohort of Sotek. It looks like they didn't quite get their regular charge. A little bit hard to tell here, but nonetheless, the Horse Master's just kind of posturing, probably waiting to see where the Croxagors and the big old T-Rex is going to be going. Yeah, this is a good engagement for the Dinos, actually. We do have the flank from the Saurus, but flanks upon flanks upon flanks as Chaos Warriors are also chasing, and now comes the Plague of Rust from Palpatine, very good usage. Going after the Croxagors, putting their armor down to 40, which means these Horse Masters will actually hit them quite hard. They're going to get melted very, very quickly with sustained volleys. Amber Spear going into Warp Chicken. I'm not really sure what he's trying to accomplish. The Amber Spear is not going to do much damage against such targets. If you do want to use Amber Spear, you want to use it like right down the pipe on Chaos Warriors or Chosen or things like that. But perhaps this player here is just kind of experimenting, seeing how it can do against the Mighty Chicken. Now, a little bit of an aggressive overextension here. Perhaps a mistake charging into the T-Rex and Gorok. He takes a little bit of damage for his time there. Charges in, Arcane Conduit as well. Cohort of Sotek being mulched here by Forsaken, no surprises. Marauders in a bit of a 2v1 engagement. We'll probably lose to 2 groups of Skinks, but the Lizards probably want to get that up and around now. Here comes a big old final transmutation going down. It hits Gorok, it hits pretty much all of the Lizard battle line, including the Star Chamber Guardians, but the Manticore Summon is also quite useful here. Though it takes damage, it's just a summon, so it doesn't really matter. And it actually is feasting on some KFC for sure. Balance of power is even. T-Rex here is just kind of chasing into the Marauder Horsemen as the Summoners of Rage do corral this beast. So Summoners of Rage will be jumping in. And here it looks like the Kroxigors were able to successfully paddle down these Chaos Warriors, so those guys are going to be running for the hills. T-Rex in a really bad situation. Lizards really need to provide some reinforcements here, because losing this T-Rex this early in the game could be quite disastrous. But again, Chaos is not without its losses as well. Sartorial losing a lot of HP to one Manticore summon, and there's probably a second one in the back pocket as well, which is certainly very concerning. Gorok coming in as well, and the Rakavitsa going to be dropping the Lizard's elbow here on Sartorial, and he's down to 2200 HP, so alright, Warp Chicken in a little bit of trouble. Some Saurus backing up as well. Gorok is going to be very, very tough to bring down. He's usually one of the last things on the battlefield to croak. Croak, yes. Lizardman pun. And here are the Summoners of Rage going to be turning around, going after the Kroxigors. Banishment attempt, I think. Or is that going to be a banishment? No, it can't be a banishment. What is it, Searing Doom? Or Chain Lightning? Ah, yes, from the Summoners of Rage. Getting some decent damage, but this isn't bad for Lizards. A fair amount of Skinks kind of poking away at the hides here of the Summoners of Rage. But nonetheless, it's a pretty pitched fight in there. So if we look around the battlefield, same old engagement on the far side. Chaos Marauders holding back Skinks. Chosen with great weapons, racking up 72 kills, really being very efficient cutting through Saurus. Their high armor in conjunction with their crazy combat stats make them very, very good here. And it looks like Chaos has come out ahead on this engagement. Granted, I feel like Chaos should be a little bit further ahead on the balance of power. Granted, I think the fact that Warp Chicken is so beat up, and I guess Lizards actually have a lot of infantry left if we really look. They do have Skink Skirmishers here. They have the Temple Guard who are very healthy. Chosen with great weapons, though, are still numerous. 59 of those bad boys, 58, after Saurus is able to take out one of the Chosen of the Chaos Pantheon. But yeah, Chosen with great weapons should be a great answer here against Star Chamber Guardians, but not if Gorok is able to come over and really make a difference. But Bounce Bar is still very, very even. Skinks in the back are screening out the Marauder Horsemen. It looks like some of the Demon Spew are being used to chase them down. Very good usage. Demon Spew do have 46 speed, so a very, very fast unit there. So definitely like the usage of those guys as a sweeper unit. Ready to be guys who follow football, or as we call it in America, soccer. So here come the Summoners of Rage, still fighting in here, but the Skinks are kind of wearing them down, actually. They've lost about 500 HP since I last looked. They do have the Scaly Skin trait, which makes them somewhat durable against missiles, but nonetheless, it still can add up from these little annoying Skink Skirmishers. And Warp Chicken is trying to help win this battle. He knows this is kind of an epicenter point. Being able to take out the Temple Guard, the Star Chamber Guardians, and these Saurus Warriors will really free up these Chosen with great weapons to pretty much carry from here. So Amber Spear going in once again, using it to snipe Warp Chicken. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't been playing as much lately as I do recover from my hand surgery, but I don't remember Warp Chicken being a great target for those type of missile attacks. Maybe like a Hand of the Gods, just because it does so much raw damage, but even still. So here the Summoners of Rage and the Marauder Horsemen, what's left of them, are able to really drag down this Feral Carno, who was kept fighting using the Cold-Blooded, but now the Mighty Beast is going to be hunted to extinction as it does flee. 38, 13 HP, and one more shaft should do him down here. And down goes the Mighty T-Rex. He falls to the earth. Trembles, but the Lizards are certainly not out of this game yet. They do indeed have Star Chamber Guardians, a Skink Priest, and Gorok is healthy, whereas Warp Chicken is very beat up. Summoners of Rage are also in relatively bad shape. What do we have here? Saurus Warriors and Cohort of Sotek as well. On the far side, it's pretty much just a wet noodle contest with some of the Chaos Warriors maybe being dragged down, but this is actually a very, very close game here. Star Chamber Guardians are near unbreakable, and if Gorok was able to put enough hurt on the Chosen, maybe break them off. They're not immune to Psychology, but the Lizards do not have any terror left on the battlefield. Yeah, they lost the T-Rex. There's no Bastillodons or anything cheap like that. And here we do also have Summoners of Rage fighting the Star Chamber Guardians, taking some serious damage in the process, but they're buying very, very valuable time here for the Chosen. And you can see the Chosen of the Chaos Gods are cleaning their way in, and certainly will be able to take apart these Star Chamber Guardians pretty easily. You can see, especially in these great numbers with their high melee attack, the Star Chamber Guardians are going down here. So for the first time of the game, it looks like Chaos has pulled ahead. Dwayne Gorok Johnson looking to put the Lizard's elbow with the Rakavitsa. I feel like the Rakavitsa would be like a WWE move. Like, that's what the Lizards would call it. Anyways, here, Sartorial the Everwatcher. 512 HP, this Mighty Chicken holding firm, but it looks like with Gorok and the Star Chamber Guardians breaking, it's going to be a tough comeback here for the Dinos. They do have Skink Cohorts over here, but Gorok is not going to fare well against this Mighty Chosen. Yes, he's very durable. He's got 60 melee defense, 100 armor when he's not Plague of Rusted, but Chosen are just so efficient at cutting through armor, especially like a stationary target that's just going to sit and let them get beaten on, and even with Sartorial cycle charging. I mean, he might die coming in to attack Gorok if Gorok turns around quick enough, but you can see a couple fell attacks there from the Herald of Tzeentch. Is going to be enough to break the back of the Lizardmen force. Well played. It was a fun game for sure. A couple mistakes in the beginning, but nonetheless, I thought it was a good example of how efficient Chosen can be. So firstly, Silly Sotek played a good game in many respects. I thought he did good with his Kroxigors, and of course the Saurus were a pretty solid pressure piece. His play with Gorok was good as well, but the Amber Spear misplays I think was really, really inefficient. The Amber Spears, unless I'm missing something, they really need to be used downtown. So like if he had just lined up his Skink Priest on the side of some of the Chosen while they were fighting Skinks and or Saurus and Amber Speared them, you can almost like one-shot them. It's brutal damage. But the Manticore summons were good. The T-Rex usage, definitely got to be a little bit more careful to screen that bad boy away. So you want to use your infantry to buffer out against the, because they had a lot of infantry, right? Silly Sotek. So you use the infantry to buffer out the horsemen and then pull the T-Rex back, engage on the other side, the horsemen relocate, you do the same thing, you rinse, you repeat. There was a couple engagements where the dinosaur got caught by the Summoners of Rage and or Spearman barrages that I think really cost Silly Sotek the game, but it ended up being close nonetheless. So well played to Palpatine. Thank you so much for sending in the replay. Always really fun to see the Chosen of the Chaos Gods in action. And well played to Silly Sotek as well, man. Looking forward to seeing the next games from these fine gentlemen. All right, guys, that's it for now. We'll see you back with more videos soon, and you guys stay safe.